What's up guys, George T from The Wagon. This week I'm going to be giving you guys a personal tour of a 1966 13 window Deluxe we named the Quicksand bus. A lot of you guys may not be familiar with this bus. It's been featured in a few magazines. I'll put some blurbs up about those and we're going to show you one a little later. But I built this vehicle for a gentleman named Rich DeWitt. We've been friends for a long time. I was actually working on another project with him and that went somewhere else, and then we brought this one over here. So this is one of the most comprehensive builds I've ever done. When I say that, I mean that I was actually involved in. But everything that I've done on this one, I've done the paint, I've done the upholstery, the wiring, the electrical, the mechanics of the vehicle, everything. As much as possible that could be done in-house, I did here. We're gonna go over some details on this bus. First off, the color. That's why it's named the Quicksand bus. If you're familiar with Toyota Tacomas, you know, in about 2018-19 when they started dropping all those cool colors, this is one of them. It's called Quicksand. I actually forget the color code for it, but it is a really, really nice color. I like this color. We chose this color for a certain reason. To me, it looks like something that VW would actually put out at one time. It's a solid, but it's somewhat of a muted color. It's not fancy, it's not really like crazy, but it just looks really clean, really nice. This stripe on it is the Titian red, and we went with an upholstery that matched the Titian red. Door panels, we got the Wolfsburg West chrome trim on it. I took a little cue from Singer. I love Singer vehicle design. If you check him out, he uses texture sometimes instead of colors to change things up. So I took a cue from him. So I got perforated on the insert and non-perforated on the exterior, but it's the same material. So I actually sent this out and had the perforation added to it to make sure it was actually the same material. All right, we got Cage 66 tubs right here. And my man Bill Cohen that did the work here did an amazing job of installing them. They're fantastic. They are beautiful. With this, I built this seat. It's basically just aluminum plates. I'll insert some pictures here of that. And Matt Miller did my upholstery in here. The late great Matt Miller, dude. That guy did such sick work, dude. His stitch work is unbeatable. As far as all the paneling in this was all built in-house by yours truly and my friend Zach Clark. And I upholstered everything in here myself, minus obviously what Matt Miller did. And I had a gentleman locally named Daniel Huerta sew up my carpet kit. I don't sew, guys. And he sewed up my headliner and installed that part there. Notice around the windows, no headliner material. We left all that nice and bare. Clean metal. We put so much work in a prepper, we're like, we might as well look at it as opposed to covering it. We got a nice 3-spoke wheel here. I had Orange Empire speedometer do my speedometer and our clock restoration. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's restored. That might be a reproduction. I'm about 95% positive that is original. We got the air-cooled accessory gauge mounts here. I did a small tack down there. Oil pressure here. Shout out to Artigas Transaxle for hooking a boy up with that original 1-year only hazard switch. Berg shifter, of course, because there's no other shifters on the market worth running. We got the Bully Driver Steelworks visors in the front, which I think those are absolutely beautiful. Fresh air box all done. I put little GTI lights in these door panels. If you check that out, I'll show when I did the install on those. And I basically put an early split pin in there, and that turns them on and off. Really stoked on the way those came out. So on the front here, this is more of the Bully Driver Steelworks goodies that we got going on here. These are those polished arms and everything, but in my opinion, they look absolutely stunning and beautiful. That's an original logo that we re-chromed, and we got Grumpy's trim on this dude. These are original VW Euros in the Wolfsburg buckets. All the Wolfsburg componentry, we just actually had original Euro lenses on them. The stainless steel Wolfsburg West mirrors and the stainless steel arms are off the Samba. I'm sorry, I cannot remember those. I think I got them from the same place I got the Deluxe trim for the bumpers. Those are off the Samba as well. Wheels on this dude. This is a 17.7 that my boy Chris Broswell cut down to a 5-inch wheel. Notice how small the lip is there and how big it is on that wheel there. So this has been cut and welded back together. And in the front we got Wagons West Willwood disc brakes, 4-inch narrowed beam, 4-inch drop spindle I believe it is on that. Rear is Wagons West as well. We got Wagons West spring plates coming out. Impy rear disc brake kit. I just painted the calipers red to match. They are all 501/30 lug pattern all the way around. We have an Artigas transaxles in this one. I cannot remember the gearing offhand. We got a Ron Jones built motor here. This motor Rich had done by Ron personally, so I'm not sure of all the details on it. This bus was the very first one that got the fuse box treatment in it. This was me and Zach Clark and Eric DeYoung designed this electrical system in here and installed it, and it came out killer. Eric DeYoung, if you remember that name, he is Dan Volks out in Boulder City. Also got the lights in the engine compartment just like I did in my bus, and everything is completely sprayed out in that engine compartment. All paint work and everything, detail work done by me in here. I have my boy Rufus pinstriping. My boy Griffin, I like his name Griffin, but Rufus is his name in pinstriper world. He put this little box surround pinstripe just to panel that out. I thought it looked pretty cool, and it also saved me. Secret be told, we cut right through there when we were polishing the inside of this, so that is just basically covering up a little boo-boo there. We went with the blade bumpers with the Deluxe trim, like European trim all the way around. I think that looks killer on it. It just it makes it look sleek, streamlined. Notice I just have blades on my bus as well. I just like the look of them. So we're going to go into the back now and go over some of the stuff we did there. I made our lower panel that you see right here, the little kick there, and then I made this one over here. This is the chrome trim that would normally be used on your drink tray up front of the bulkhead. And since I had it in the kit, I decided to lace it out onto this piece there, make it look really good. That's actually your bottom trim piece that goes across, and I'd done two of them, so I had two of those laying around to make that. Worked out really well. You notice the bulkhead is painted like it's not, there's no upholstery on it. Once we got done spraying it, the owner asked, like, do we have to cover that up? And I said, absolutely not. So we left it open and exposed. We did an early style grab handle. Not quite sure if I remember where that came from. And if you look on the interior in the panel there, both armrests are from an early Beetle. For 66 and 67, it's a big ugly foam one, and I just didn't even want to deal with that. I thought it looked hideous. And if you notice, you see our bars on these seats. You see these right here. So our buddy Chris Vuk has a beautiful 23 window, and he had these bars on his seat, and I just love the look of them. They're freaking sick, as opposed to 66 would be these ugly plastic, black plastic. I think that just looks cheap, so we went with the early style. We also had this middle seat custom made by a dude named Gary. I wish I could remember Gary's company right now, but I can't. So this is actually a bay window seat modified to look like an early full bench. On the interior here, we did our grab handles. You notice those are black leather, because this originally would have like a white plastic that I found to be, once again, tacky and cheap looking. So I went down to Tandy leather and started learning how to cut and drill leather. Actually do a punches, not actually cutting it, and you roll the cuts, not actually scissors. So I learned a couple things, made myself some assist straps. So all three of those assist straps are handmade here in the shop as well. Something I forgot to mention about that front seat, because we have a performance header on the engine, we put seat heaters in the front seat. There's our controls for the seat heaters right there, and each seating area has the seat heaters in it. I was super proud of that one. I think it just looks good. Plus, you want to give your customer a little bit of climate control. This is going to be driven way more in the winter time than it would be in the summertime. This is a bus that I built. It took 4 years to get it done. Once again, we're a one-man operation here with only so many people. But the customer was super happy. He said it was worth the wait. This came to me as a real piece of crap. Rich bought this off of Kevin McCain, and he was referring to it at that time as the 14 window because there was a big hole cut in the roof. So if you remember the condition of that vehicle, it was rough. And I'll show you some of my before pictures on this. Like once we first got it out of blasting, just how rusty this sucker was. Like it was pretty bad. Just mental note. If it ain't coming out of Vegas or Arizona, it's probably gonna be rusty, just so you know. Colorado, not a good spot to get them. Jail bars with a rear Safari, they usually don't play well with each other. So what I did is I had a couple of the center sections here, and I ended up lopping the end of it off and then supporting this to the actual supported tube here on both ends. And that let us have jail bars along with this rear Creative Engineering Safari. We got more exposed metalwork back here. and the owner loved just how nice it looked. So this is a shout out to Bill Cohen with the prep work on that. He did a beautiful job prepping out this bus. I did all the spray. None of this has been cut, buffed, or anything that you see except for the dash. The dash I did cut and buff because I ran an area of it and I had to actually cut it. But everything else you're seeing in here is out of the gun. I never hit it with a polisher or anything. So I'm sure if a detailer got a hold of this, he could go nuts on it. But I think it came out really killer. For out of the gun, I was very stoked after I got done spraying it, needless to say, and the owner was really stoked when he saw it. Everything you're seeing here paint wise is 2 years old. It's been like this for a very long time, and unfortunately it just has not seen the wild. We're trying to get it out there. It's been over at One Crazy Weekend. If you went to One Crazy Weekend, it was out there last year. Hopefully you see it a lot more shows this year, because this is a killer bus. I love it. I'm so super proud of this build. I gotta reconnect that. Apparently that popped off. This has been sitting in a place here locally in Vegas for quite some time. So the owner was in between moving. Another little cool detail that we did on this bus that a lot of people won't catch right away is all the glasses, all of our glass in this is brand new. It has the proper Secure logos all the way out. Both of those, that's 2 windows there, our 3rd window. And we even had new glass cut for the Creative Engineering Safaris with the logos on it. I have the same exact thing done for Thorne's bus over there, and we'll be doing the same on Pulley's if you switched over to Creative Engineering glass. But yeah, really happy with the way that everything came out on this. The little details, the things that you don't see. The wagon, baby. I love it. All of our handles were done by Gabriel. I'm sure you guys know when I say Gabriel who I'm talking about. Gabe VW Key, I think is his Instagram handle. He does beautiful work. So we have an ignition key that does all the doors, all the locks, including the rear hatch. And I don't think the engine compartment has a lock on it. Let me find out. Yes, so the one key does everything. Deck lid, the rear hatch, door handles, and cargo doors. So when I'm referring to these being uncut, that means these were never cut and buffed. Everything you see on that is out of the gun work. And to prove it, there's like a little blemish in the paint right there. I didn't think that that was worth it to chase it and potentially create a bigger problem, but there's a little like blip, like something touched it, which happens a lot when you're painting inexperienced like me. This is also out of the gun, never cut, never buffed. That is the way it is, and this is 2 years later. So if it was going to die back, and you can see there's a little bit of texture on that, but I'm super stoked on that. That right there, once again, this is uncut, so you can see the orange peel in it, but it's never been addressed. It's never been cut, never been buffed. The only thing I did cut and buff is the dash, because I ran like curtains on that thing the whole way across it, and I felt that to be a necessity. Steering box raise, all powder coated pedal assemblies, rebuilt bushing inside, dual circuit master cylinder for forward disc brakes. Up front we got a Wagons West 4-inch beam with Wagons West, I believe these are 4.5 or 5-inch drop spindles with the Wagons West disc brakes, Willwoods in the front. So we shaved, you see here, we shaved the heater. It's completely gone. And shaved it from the tube, or from the cross members as well. So nothing there at all. Do a new wiring loom. And we got a separate loom here for our tack and a couple other things that go there. Obviously all new brake lines. I would hope that when someone builds a car they do that. So we located the cooler here. This is pre-Foothill Fabs when they were making their thing there. So we just made a bracket, mounted off of that. We got a nut rivet there, riv nuts here as well. Same set trap cooler. This is pre-Ross Wolf. If Ross Wolf was around, I would have put the Ross Wolf on there. Old Speed mid-mount. Wagons West offset plates in the rear. Artigas transaxle. We got a Ron Jones built motor here. It's a 2076, I believe is what it is. Rear disc brakes are empty. I just painted them red, so they look a little better and match the front. We got our relay bank up there. As you see there, we have a Deutsch plug for the motor, so when you pull the motor, everything comes off in one. Behind that, if you can make that out, that's a -6 bung on the gas tank. Vintage speed exhaust, CB wide glide sump, K&N filter with a wagon oil cooler mount on it. So you can see that. Yep. I make those in-house. Stephen Hartlauer did my last pressing of them. We have braided brake lines on the back here, so everything articulates together with it, and we're using the clamps that Old Speed sells for it. Up there we got a Carter fuel pump, kind of difficult to see, but Carter fuel pump, and all -8 push lock oil lines on it. Everything has been detailed. The only thing that aren't like high level detailed are the transmission and the front beam, because when we initially started this project, it was supposed to be for a driver, hence the flat finish on it. That's the one regret. Hindsight being 2020, would have definitely have gone for a gloss black. A little cool feature that Bill Cohen, the metal guy, did on this car. He made this cool little cutaway for the steering box raise. So instead of just cutting a section out and bending it like most people do, he made that nice little horseshoe right there and then welded it into the frame. Thought that looked pretty trick. But everything's detailed to a very high level here. Everything under this is single stage Quicksand, except for, if you look at my wheel wells have U-Pull Raptor on them that I tinted to match when I did the paint on it. Now the reason I did that is because you saw those fenders from the inside, how smooth they look. Well, I didn't want to rock to chip this and then give me a star on the exterior. So we put that U-Pull Raptor at all 4 corners just to make sure that we didn't have any paint blowouts in our wheel well. So you see even the rockers or the mud flap area is done there. All that U-Pull Raptor as well. But the rest of it is all single stage gloss. In my opinion, it's a very sharp bus. This thing is detailed to the nth degree. It's a really beautiful bus. Everything on it is brand new. Nothing is used on this thing anymore. The only thing actually I could say used would be this transmission. You're not finding new gearboxes nowadays. Super nice bus. Very proud of that build.